people were very skeptical about how would we be with these units? How would we perform? Are we going to be a liability? And a lot of those concerns aren't unwarranted. It's the unknown. But also on principle, you never know until you give people a chance to try. So that's what our first group was there to do. We were the first ones.
Not everyone is going to be able to be a combat soldier, but everyone is entitled to a chance.
The Cultural Support Team was a program started by the Army Special Operations Program, and it was birthed out of many years of our time in Afghanistan, where you have special operation forces like Special Forces, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, who are working in Afghanistan going after high-value targets from Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. So they go on these raids, and they're there to find these high-value targets and also gather critical intelligence. But one thing that they were missing was being able to engage with the women and children on target. Because of the Afghan culture, the American forces were not allowed to talk to the women and children. There was this niche need that only women could fill. When I first went to Afghanistan and was embedded with the 75th Ranger Regiment, for me, I had some folks that understood, hey, it has to be kind of lonely and uncharted being the only woman there, and some Rangers that befriended me, which I appreciated. But initially, a lot really kept their distance. It was about 2 weeks before anyone really talked to me. It was very lonely. It was not welcoming, kind of a more cold reception. It was a lot of, I think, wait and see and prove yourself, which happens to even new Rangers. So a lot of it wasn't necessarily based on being a woman, but yes, some of it was. There was a lot more, I think, scrutiny and skepticism on how are we going to perform. But it wasn't an easy road. It definitely took a while to change some hearts and minds within our own special operation forces. When I left, there was such an attitude shift. When I left, these Rangers were saying, you know, it's kind of weird that they don't even let women go to Ranger school. Like, they let men who aren't in combat arms go. Like, why can't women? And when I left, one of the Rangers gave me their patch and said that'd be really cool if you become a Ranger one day. The reasons why Afghan women were recruited to end up doing the cultural support team job, they were dubbed the female tactical platoons, so that was the name for the Afghan women. We needed to build up the internal Afghan capacity to be able to govern and secure themselves. So this also included units that are capable of doing these type of direct action raids going after high-value targets. The roles were essentially the same. What is different, though, is the level of courage that I think it takes to actually raise your hand and do that job. There's just so much more risk for them agreeing to associate and do this job, do a job that is leaps and bounds ahead of what Afghan women are doing in society, let alone the military and let alone the highest echelons of their military. They completely threaten what the Taliban stands for and wants to institute under their governance. There absolutely was impact. And there was impact in the advancement of women. The success of the Cultural Support Team program was huge in that. A lot of what we proved that we could do there played a big role in the Department of Defense ultimately rescinding the Women on Combat ban. Now, the same goes for these Afghan women, and them proving themselves on the battlefield right there with their male Afghan counterparts culturally has huge impacts on how women are viewed and revered in society. Really, I want these stories to go to the next generation of service women, and hopefully they can be inspired by it.